Alex Bregman's time as a Houston Astro is over. He signed with the Boston Red Sox tonight to a 3-year, $40 million deal with opt-outs after every single one of them. If you're a Houston Astros fan, this is probably a pretty bittersweet day, a disappointing day, a sad day. Let's talk about it. I'm Paul Gallant, and this is an emergency edition of the Gallant Says podcast.
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
Paul Gallant's wondering the same things a lot of people are.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to say.
Grow up, are you kidding me? Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello and welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast. It is 10:36, February 12th, 2025. You can watch this live on YouTube at Paul Gallant, on Twitter /X at Gallant Says, Facebook.com/Paul Gallant Sports, on Twitch.tv at Gallant Says, and on top of that, on Instagram at Sports Gallant. If you want to jump in on the show, the best way to watch this thing is on YouTube and or Twitch. You can jump to the front of the line with the super chat. I'll play this button.
Paul, stop talking. Listen.
And you can jump to the front of the line. Alex Bregman is a Boston Red Sox. Weird for it to be finalized. I'll admit I've been getting a little bit annoyed with the reporting about Alex Bregman's future over the last couple of weeks, months, since the end of the season. But his 9-year career with the Astros is done, and it's just weird to process that. Over 9 years in Houston, he had 1,132 hits, 265 doubles, 191 runs batted in, 663 runs batted in, a batting average of 272, an OPS of 848, a Gold Glove, 2 All-Star appearances, 2 top 5 MVP appearances, including in 2019, his best season with the Astros, where he had 41 home runs, 119 walks, hit 296 with an OPS of 1,015. No All-Star appearances since that time. A couple of seasons where he dealt with injuries, 2020 to a degree. Of course, that was the shortened season, the COVID-19 shortened season. 2021, he only played 91 games. But over the last 3 seasons, the guy has been out there just about every single day, playing elite defense. And despite getting off to slow starts in just about every single season, when push came to shove, this is a guy who you constantly relied on. So you're probably thinking to yourself, why Boston? The Astros offered Bregman 6 years and $156 million. The Detroit Tigers offered Bregman 6 years and $171 million. There's 2 reasons that I think he chose the Red Sox. Number one, I think familiarity with Alex Cora, who of course was bench coach with the Houston Astros when they won the World Series back in 2017. And his push to bring Bregman to Boston was a big factor. But more than anything, I think simply how successful Bregman's been at Fenway Park in Boston is the main reason he made this decision. I don't know if you guys knew what his regular season career splits at Fenway Park in Boston are. But if you haven't seen it, and you can watch it right now if you're watching along on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram and on X/Twitter. His regular season career splits at Fenway: 30 for 80, a 375 average, 7 homers, 9 doubles, 15 runs batted in, and an OPS of 1240. I mean, holy shit. This is the park that he's best at. And if you're someone who is entering the twilight of their career, you're going into your 10th season, you're nearly 31 years old. He turns 31 on March 30th. You want a chance to get paid again. And if he has a big year in Boston at Fenway Park, he's going to have an opportunity to do that. On top of that, he's getting paid $40 million a year. I mean, I love Bregman. I think his leadership is going to be missed. I think his baseball IQ is also going to be missed. But we're talking about a guy who hasn't been an all-star in 5, nearly 6 years. Would you have been willing to spend $40 million a year on him? I'm not going to lie, I would have. But that unfortunate era of Houston Astros baseball, where the Astros didn't have a GM and signed Jose Abreu to that 3-year deal for nearly $60 million. They're still paying him. That Rafael Montero contract, 3 years, what was it, $34 million or so? Those 2 deals got in the way. And honestly, Lance McCullers, the contract the Astros are paying him, I like Lance a lot. Good dude. Big part of that 2017 World Series with his performance against the Yankees in the ALCS. Those contracts got in the way of the Astros being able to do something like this. They should not be crying poor. They offered a deal that I think was reasonable, was fair. If we compare taxes in Boston and compare taxes in Detroit, someone wants to do the math. I'm sure that that contract that the Astros offered was still a pretty good one. But if you're Bregman and you have the chance to play at Fenway Park, a park that you fucking destroy at, this makes a lot of sense for him. So I'm not going to get mad at him, but I sense some anger. El Mimo on Instagram at Sports Gallant says he's going to get booed relentlessly for 2 months for how slow he starts. Boston fans are rather unforgiving. I would know. I grew up in Boston. I abandoned the Red Sox for the Astros. I texted my brother-in-law and my best friend who live up there that they're going to be really happy watching Bregman because this is a guy who we all saw at Minute Maid Park. Crawford boxes were perfect for him. Fenway Park's even better. It's a shorter left field. The wall's just 1,000,000 feet high. Bregman's going to be smacking balls off of that wall all the time. And I know there's some people that wonder, does he still have the legs to run out doubles on a regular basis? Don't worry about it. The ball's going to hit the wall so many times. He's going to hit home runs too. Might not be quite as easy as at the Crawford boxes, but, I mean, Fenway Park's left field, it's pretty short for quite a ways. It's really like when you get to deep center and right field where things get a little bit more difficult to blast out of the park. If you want to vent about this, you can on YouTube at Paul Gallant, on Twitch at Gallant Says, Facebook.com/Paul Gallant Sports, on Twitter and X at Gallant Says, and on Instagram at Sports Gallant. Let's read some comments. Tim Batchelor says, Extra Gallant Says, score, hell yeah. Christian Ramirez says the Red Sox grossly overpaid. Well, think about it from this perspective. If you were the Astros, would you have been willing to do this for 1 year and $40 million? That's what I was starting to think about pushing the idea of. Would you sign Bregman for 1 year and a lot of money and just leave it at that 1 year? Maybe more than $40 million. Would you have been willing to do that? It would not have been the most intelligent decision. There's no denying that. But they are going to miss what he brings to the table. I mean, things have changed so much for the Astros over the years. The only holdovers from the original World Series team are Jose Altuve and Lance McCullers. Jose Altuve, in fact, is the only holdover. And unless Lance pitched in 2015, off the top of my head, I don't remember. But I believe Jose Altuve is the only guy who's been here the entirety of the Astros' return to good baseball. Greg Little agrees with Lyndon, saying $40 million a year is stupid. Lyndon Earhart, hoping they enjoy the pop-ups with runners in scoring position. I understand that sentiment, but I did think Bregman closed out the year pretty well, didn't he? And maybe I need to go look at the statistics again, but I'd say over the last couple of years that Bregman has been the guy that you rely on the most in the postseason. He has been pretty damn good in that situation. So, is that more important than the way he starts off the season, which from the beginning of his time in Houston in 2016, a slow starter, is that a huge problem? I mean, Bregman had a fantastic September where he hit 303 August, where he hit 303 this past year. It did take him a while to get out of the gates, but he also had a great June. I'm not going to hold that against him too much. I understand there were a lot of pop-ups, especially with runners in scoring position. And if that was too much for you, fine. 260 with 26 homers, a 75 runs batted in, and a 768 OPS. Is that worth $40 million a year for a guy who's going to turn 31 later this year? Probably not. It's not an economical move. But from a sentiment perspective and from the guy brings a lot of leadership to the table perspective, I would have had a hard time saying no. I think the sentimentality outweighs a lot. Most people are agreeing, though. Mike Espinosa, $40 million is ridiculous. Glad the Astros didn't overpay. Juan Portillo says, meh, bye. That's it? That's all you got for him? I mean, we had some great memories with Alex Bregman. I feel like he deserves a little bit more than that on the way out, no? Moreland and Earhart, $40 million for a guy who doesn't play till late June or early July. World of Warcraft Spartacus, $40 million a year for a player who will likely be playing a base he hasn't played his whole career and is a slow starter. He is coming off of a gold glove at third base. I feel like he'd do pretty well at second base. GZ Breggs, I guess. I don't know what GZ means. DeLion says if he starts hitting the first 2 months of the season, he'll be worth it. Good for him. Great place for him to go. It is a great place for him to go. I think Boston will love him. I don't think he's one that will crumble under the pressure. I mean, this is a guy who maybe hasn't been the same player since the Astros sign-stealing scandal, but I feel like he'll do well in Boston. And I think he's wanted to play in a place that does, at least maybe back in the day, love baseball the way Boston does. I grew up in Boston, for those who don't know. I am no longer a Red Sox fan. I have personal issues with the Boston Red Sox. I don't like the way that they handled the end of the 2011 season where they collapsed down the stretch. They blamed it all on Terry Francona. I don't like the way that they tend to smear their best players when their careers were hitting the fan. Pedro Martinez, Nomar Garcia Parra. I don't like the way that they operate. And it took me a while being in sports media to understand everything that goes on behind the scenes with that team. I don't like them. I did a little work for them back in the day, did some post-game stuff for their flagship station. I didn't want to do it because I'm not the biggest baseball fan in the world. So that also is a little bit of a factor. Who would have thought that people could sense that I did not enjoy doing the post-game show for the Boston Red Sox on a Saturday afternoon against the Toronto Blue Jays? But I don't want to make it too much about me. I think he will do well there as someone who's lived there. Eric Hammond says that Jeff Passan's reporting Bregman will play second base in Boston. Furious Rufus says they'll love his white ass in Boston. Jerry 2968 says the Astros offered him a raise from the deal they gave him when they didn't have to, and his stats got worse the entire deal. Look, fair way to look at it. I look at it from the perspective of, are you going to be able to replace him? Is Isaac Paredes going to step in and go ham because he's really good and his splits to left field are really good. I don't know. I truly do not know. What else do we have here? More comments. Kildzer, I think talking about his sample in Boston. It's a tiny sample. It's a really good tiny sample. In case you're just tuning in, I think this is the main reason that Bregman chose Boston. It's not Alex Cora as much as it's at Fenway Park in the regular season. Bregman is 30 for 80 with a 375 average. He's hit 7 homers, 9 doubles, 15 runs, batted in an OPS of 1240. I mean, that's fucking nuts. But a lot of comments are a little salty. Roger Drago commented on my Twitter /X. He can take his shitty salsa with him. Don't hold the salsa against him. The salsa's not his fault. You think he went to a kitchen and started working on his own salsa that he made from scratch? Someone told him that it was good, and he probably just thought to himself, "Yeah, I'll market some salsa." I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit annoying how you gotta pay like $5 extra for the Bregarita margarita at Minute Maid Park. It's an El Tiempo margarita, but it's got like the Bregarita sauce, and on top of that, like tahini on the rim. You had to pay like $4 for that, where if you go to any bar in Houston, you can get tahini on the rim of a margarita for free. That was kind of bullshit. I remember the first time I got it, and I thought to myself, wait a second, I just got robbed. $4 extra for an already over-the-top expensive El Tiempo margarita. On Facebook, Daniel Oliveira says this definitely hurts the Astros in general, but good for Bregman. $40 million a year is a good deal. It is what it is. Glad it's Boston, to be honest. I'm glad it's not New York. I'm glad it's not the Dodgers. Would have been annoying, too, if he went to the Cubs, and the Cubs have Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman and Ryan Presley. Lyndon Earhart says, nobody could have seen Jose Abreu falling off a cliff in year 1 or McCullers' arm falling off after year 2. Montero was the only stupid contract. Montero was a bad one. Abreu, there were some splits that lent themselves to the idea. I don't know if I said that right. Whatever. I've had a few drinks tonight. There was certainly some numbers. There were. See, we're working on the English on the fly. There were some numbers that you could have taken a look at online that suggested that Jose Abreu was declining in talent, in skill. So I do think you can second guess that one. But in the moment, I thought it was a good deal. I really did. H. Ansari says the Red Sox are tripping with $40 million. You can give him all the opt-outs in the world. He isn't opting out of that annual salary. His next contract needs to be 3 years to $50 million. 3 years and $50 million to come out ahead. Seems easy. Yeah, I bet he'll get paid that. 33, 34 years old. If Jose Abreu at what? How old was Jose Abreu when the Astros gave him that deal? If Jose Abreu can get that, and I get it, he was MVP not that long ago when the Astros gave him that deal. I think he can get it. There is a leadership quality that he brings to the table that I think Boston's going to love, and the Astros are going to miss. Someone has to fill that void in the clubhouse. Why did Hunter Brown turn a season around? A lot of people credit Alex Bregman for it because Alex Bregman was the one who was telling him to go start throwing the two-seam fastball, the sinker, whatever it was. That was Bregman. And Ryan Presley was helping him out a little bit. But no, Bregman is the smartest baseball mind based off of everything that we have been told by those who cover the team that's been on the Astros for this past nearly a full decade. They're going to miss him. More comments here. H. and Sari says, put the $40 million a year towards Tucker. He's better at everything other than third base. Not in the fucking playoffs. We can't say that about Bregman in the playoffs compared to Tucker in the playoffs. Bregman in the playoffs. Was he great? No. But he wasn't the reason that the Astros got eliminated by the Tigers. He hit 375 in that series. 2022 ALDS against Seattle. 2022 ALCS against the Yankees. He hit .333 in both of those series with an OPS of .975 in both of those series. Against the Rangers in the 2023 ALCS, Bregman had an OPS of 1,067. I mean, he's had some really good moments in the playoffs. The 2020 ALDS, when everyone's talking shit about the Astros coming off of the sign stealing scandal, he hit 1,167 in that second round series against the A's, who were talking a preposterous amount of shit. Certainly, he has had some playoff duds. As has Jose Altuve. But Bregman has been, I think, a damn good contributor for this team. And compared to Kyle Tucker in the playoffs of late, who's definitely more of a five-tool player and is younger, he has been better. World of Warcraft Spartacus says, so this means they can pay Tucker when he's a free agent, right? Well, with Abreu off the books and with Montero off the books after next season, maybe. Lyndon Earhart asks, is Boston making the postseason after signing Bregman? I don't know. That's a tough division to play in. Some comments on Instagram at Sports Gallant. The barbecue sauce is better. Bregman was never the same after the cheating scandal came to light. The swagger was gone, and every year it takes him longer to get started. He took a while to get started his first year. There are lots of reasons to justify the Astros not giving Bregman this specific deal. Bregman should have taken this deal when it was presented to him. You can 100%. I'm not mad at the Astros for this. This, at the very least, makes sense as to why he'd leave. And on top of that, the guy smashes at Fenway Park, and he's probably thinking this is going to help him get another contract. The versatility of said deal where he can opt out after any of these seasons is also big for him. If he has a huge season this year, if he's not just a Gold Glover at second base, which I do think is possible, though I think he's a better third baseman than Rafael Devers, who the Red Sox have at third. But if he has a monster season, he can opt out and can sign a huge deal somewhere else. This actually was, I think, a pretty good deal that Scott Boras put together. Henry Green comments, the Breggy numbers in Boston are skewed because all but one of those trips to Boston were in August when he hits. Let's see how he hits in April and May. Sure, fair. I get it. El Mimo says, hot take, but Isaac Paredes will have a better season than Bregman. Then he says something I can't say. But he can say it. At least that's what he claims. More comments. These are on YouTube. Christian Ramirez says the Astros need to add at least one more player, in my opinion, another outfielder. Well, I don't know if they will. I really don't. I think it's really late in the game. I mean, we're talking a week before the rest of players report to spring training. Pitchers and catchers reported to spring training today. Henry Green suggests Alex Verdugo. Lyndon Earhart also says they do need another outfielder, but I'm guessing they wait until the trade deadline to address if necessary. I don't know, man. I want to get it now. World of Warcraft Spartacus says, so who will Yankees fans hate more, Altuve or Red Sox Breggy? Altuve. Altuve owns that ass. Daniel Oliveira says, give Paredes a shot, all-star third baseman. Come on, people. Well, he's got to make good on the metrics that suggest he will smash at Minute Maid Park. But this move means that, yeah, Paredes is your third baseman. We'll see how he does as a fielder, and that Jose Altuve is going to play a lot of outfield. Juan Portillo comments on YouTube. Bregman was great. Loved the time, but he chose his way, even though some teammates were willing to do the necessary to accommodate him. So, laughing emoji. What do you mean by that? I don't want to be a dick to this guy on the way out. Largo is funny on Twitch. That's a funny comment. Poor guy has to move to Boston. As someone who lived there, I would be very, 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 very sad if I were forced to move back. without a job that pays more. My family does live there, but Boston's cold. It's miserable. People are angry all the time. I feel like I've grown as a person since leaving Boston. He also points out all those people might appreciate his shitty sauce. That is true. Sauce in the Northeast, it's fucking terrible. More comments here. Alex Bregman has signed with the Boston Red Sox. Eric Eden asks, is he getting sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts now so we can pack the wicked car with Matt Damon? I imagine he will get a Dunkin' Donuts ad. It's going to be weird to see him do a Dunkin' Donuts ad. As someone who's from there, I put that town in my rearview mirror. And this fucking guy's coming up here and he's playing second base. He's playing the same position Dustin Pedroia used to play. Dustin Pedroia won an MVP. When did Alex Bregman win an MVP? I ain't never seen Alex Bregman win no MVP. He came in second back in 2019, and a lot of people think he was fucking cheating before that. Now he's coming to Fenway Park, and this guy's acting like he's going to step in here, and he's going to play second base, and he's going to be better than fucking Dustin Pedroia. This fucking guy doesn't understand what it's like here. He doesn't understand what it's like to win up here. Okay? This is a city of Tom Brady. This is a city of Paul Pierce. This is a city of Kevin Garnett. This is the city of Larry Bird. This is a fucking city of champions. And Alex Bregman's coming up here. Oh, what the fuck he think he's going to do, huh? Who the fuck does he think he is? This fucking guy coming up here acting like the Astros are better than the Sox. These fucking cheaters. I don't care if it makes me a hypocrite because my Pats are fucking cheaters. They cheated within the rules. The Astros cheated outside the rules. Don't talk about my fucking Apple Watch scandal, you fucking loser. Fuck you. Meet me outside Cumberland Farms. I'll fuck you up, and then I'll put a fucking dot in your eye. You fucking fuck. That's how you do a Boston accent. You say fuck, but you say it like F-A-C-K, and you start off with that, and everything from there turns into the Boston accent that you've probably been trying to do your whole life. Yes, that's a real Boston accent. Some of my friends had it. I'm playing it up a little bit, but that's not a caricature Boston accent. That's Boston accents I've actually heard. Daniel Oliveira's comments on Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. Well, Gallant, you nailed it. The dugout thing is big. No Bregman, Tucker, Verlander, Presley. Who is leading this now? Altuve. Joe Espada suggested Jeremy Pena. Jeremy Pena gonna lead the Astros today. That's certainly strange to think about because he's more of a quiet guy. H. Ansari comments on YouTube. I just don't understand refusing to give long-term deals to top-tier players because of the unknown at the end of the contract. Instead, we keep signing old guys on the decline. Well, they didn't sign a guy who's about to turn 31 years old. So who are we talking about here? I feel like you're talking about the Astros Letterman Jacket Skull and Bones Society decisions when they didn't have a general manager, when they forced out James Click, and we all, let's be honest, all thought to ourselves, yeah, fuck that guy. And then Jeff Bagwell and Jim Crane got a little bit too aggressive looking at the back of baseball cards. H. Ansari says Correa is better than Bregman in the postseason. I'd have to check the stats to look at that. And we will look at them a little bit more. This is me coming back from a rodeo event tonight. So, these don't exactly have all the information in front of me that I would like to have. What else do we have? Psychotic Pothead says, do you think the Orioles will win a playoff series this year? I hope so. Probably not. Fuck them. Fuck the Orioles. Although I like my friend Kevin Brown who calls their games. But fuck them. They're not going to ever get it done. Bunch of choking dogs. You would think at some point they would actually put it together. Somehow they haven't. Andrew Ramirez says, Jim Crane could have kept Tucker, Presley, and Bregman. Jim Crane's a cheap, rich owner. No, he's an economically irresponsible owner. I mean, the Astros had the fourth highest payroll in baseball going into this year. Like, you can't call them cheap. You can say that he's given out some contracts that have aged very poorly and that injuries have made look a lot worse. Poor Marine on X says, is Bregman sauce like ketchup at the farmer's market? Yeah, dude. Cyril Yorn says, oh my God, my ears, the accent. Yeah, that's what it sounds like, guys. That's what it sounds like. What, you think you're fucking better than me? Huh? Who the fuck you think you are? Oh, look at me. I've never been to the Northeast before. I've never seen sports greatness. Here I am, down in Houston. Oh, look at my Astros. We won 2 World Series. You never won a fucking Super Bowl, huh? You haven't even been to an AFC championship game in a while. That's where my Pats start the playoffs, dude. They start them right there. The AFC championship game. Who the fuck you think you are? Oh, you're asking why I'm fucking flipping the conversation from talking about the Red Sox to the Astros? Hey, let me tell you what. We won 4 World Series since 2004. Oh, you've been to a few? You haven't won that many. We won all the World Series we've been in. Okay, Bob? So why don't you turn around and walk away? Why don't you take your fucking loser ass back to Dorchester? How about Worcester? Huh? How about Gloucester? How about Manchester by the Sea? Huh? How about Tewksbury? How about Peabody? Huh? Fuck you. You think you're better than me? You don't know shit. There will be Red Sox fans like that. More comments on YouTube. Astros need pitchers, say Andrew Ramirez. Our bullpen's not that great with our pitchers being injured. Oh, wait, I read that comment already. See, this is what happens when you have a few drinks and you do this. It's the rodeo event, okay? I'm on the poultry auction committee. I'm going to post a link at some point. I hope that you donate to it. Keenan comments, I forgot Joe Kelly was on the 2018 Red Sox. Yeah, he was. Joe Kelly looks a lot like, I don't know, Lee Harvey Oswald. Just a thought. Big Balls Squad 2021 asks, Paul, is the door open? The door's fucking closed, dude. Because Breggy, he's a fucking Red Sox. Okay? You got a problem with that? You got a problem with me? Fuck you. The fuck you think you are, huh? You think you're better than me? Huh? You think you're better than me? Cyril Yorns asks, actually just comments, I like what the Stros got for Tucker. Yeah, they did get a good return for him considering he is a free agent after this coming season. Hayden Wisniewski is intriguing to me because Astros pitchers always seem to figure shit out here. And then you got Cam Smith, and we'll see if Cam Smith turns into this super player that everyone thinks he potentially could be. Andrew Ramirez says we need more pitchers for the Astros. I mean, here's the thing. They got a lot of pitchers. They just got to get healthy, and you kind of have to hope that they'll get healthy. Brandon Halam has an NFL take. New York sent both Saquon and Mekhi Becton to Philadelphia. What's wrong with that city? I mean, those guys left on their own will. World of Warcraft says, Paul doing a Boston accent to the camera reminds me of William Dafoe talking to the mirror in Spider-Man. I wish I could do the Green Goblin laugh. I sadly can't. Andrew Ramirez says, they finally found out who Jack the Ripper is with DNA. Nice. Where is this ADD shit coming from? Where is this coming from? We got people who want to talk football. We got people that want to talk Jack the Ripper. Motherfuckers, I'm doing a second live stream today. Pat me on the back. I am a hot little potato. I'm reading some more texts here. Grayson Jenkins comments, hey, Paul. Hi, Grayson. How you doing? Do you want me to do more Boston accent? I feel like revealing to people that I'm originally from Boston while I wear this Houston Astros hat with a bunch of Houston shit behind me in my office doesn't exactly make He looked good. Brandon Halam asks, how many Red Sox do you own? How about none of your fucking business, huh? How about none of your fucking business? You asking me how many socks I have? You asking a man how many socks he has? Here's what I got a sock for you. I'm gonna fucking sock you in the face. I ever see ya. Except for if you actually show up in person, and then I'll just talk a little more shit. And then I'll pass you a Guinness and say it's all in good fun. Okay? I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I would fight you, and I'll talk all about how I will fight you, because that's the fucking Boston way, kid. Big Ball Squad says, Ball is Jack the Ripper. No, I'm not a serial killer. I'm not a serial killer. I don't know much about Jack the Ripper. Is Jack the Ripper from Boston? Serious question. I truly do not know. Let's look this up. Jack the Ripper. Was his name not Jack? Wow. Jack the Ripper's identity revealed at their DNA match, historian says. His name was Aaron Kosminski, the infamous killer who terrorized London women, has been largely referred to as simply Jack the Ripper until now. Historian Russell Edwards says he has identified Jack the Ripper as Aaron Kosminski through a DNA match of a shawl found at the scene of one of his murders. He was a Polish immigrant who came to Whitechapel, England in 1881 alongside his brother, became a barber once in the British capital. Interesting. Kosminski, who was 23 at the time of his murders, long has been considered a suspect. He had schizophrenia and was in a mental asylum at the time of his death in 1919. Interesting. Thanks to his oldest brother's great-great-granddaughter, the revelation was made after they provided a DNA sample. God damn, we can discover DNA from over 100 years ago. Very interesting. More comments here. World of Warcraft Spartacus asks, what are the chances we get a live reaction of Nick Caley's press conference on the show? Tomorrow you will get that. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this right now. We'll talk more about Alex Bregman tomorrow, and we'll of course talk about it pretty much all radio show long. But yeah, we'll talk about Nick Caley's press conference. Here's the thing. It's a fucking press conference, you know? Like, I'm sure that the flagship station will carry the thing live. It'll be boring as shit. And you'll hear things that get you excited if you really listen hard, but press conferences are just words. But we will react to it. His introductory press conference. I'm sure that the Houston Texans are thinking to themselves, ooh, the Astros lost a key player. This is fantastic for us. Because there's a little bit of competition going on in town. What else do we have here? Andrew Ramirez says he lives in a van down by the river. Where the fuck are you guys at? Like, this is so much ADD, and I'm a little bit intoxicated right now. Like, you guys are all over the map on this live stream. I feel like this might be a sign for me to hang it up. I will be on Fox 26 tomorrow morning in the 7 o'clock hour. If you want to hear more thoughts on this. If you haven't already, please like this video on YouTube at Paul Gallant and subscribe to my channel. Or if you're more of a Twitcher, you can sub to my channel on Twitch. Please, if you don't do that, follow me on X/Twitter at Gallant Says, or on Instagram at Sports Gallant, or on TikTok at Gallant Says. We'll post some clips from this show. I'm going to cut up some of the Boston accent moments that I had. I wonder how much I'm going to have to fucking censor things out to actually post it. And it will be available momentarily via podcast, because this thing kind of got all over the place. But Alex Bregman signs with the Boston Red Sox for 3 years, $40 million with opt-outs after every single season. And I feel like the reason he did it is because, one, Alex Cora is there, and two, he just hits really well in Boston. at Fenway Park in the regular season, a 375 average with 7 homers, 9 doubles, 15 runs batted in, and an OPS of 1240. There's a very good chance he has a good season, can opt out and get the contract that he's looking for. Hell, maybe he ends up coming back to the Astros. Hell, maybe Kyle Tucker ends up coming back to the Astros. Whatever the case. If you haven't already, follow the podcast on Spotify. Leave a 5-star review, a rating, tell a friend, or on Apple Podcasts. Same thing. Leave a review, a rating, tell a friend. Then I feel like you don't like me if you haven't done that. But I appreciate you guys jumping aboard with me on this live stream tonight. It does suck. Alex Bregman is officially gone after a 9-year career that saw him win 2 World Series for your Astros, 2 All-Stars, 2018 and 2019, All MLB second team in 2019, a Gold Glove Award winner this past season, the Silver Slugger Award winner in 2019. It was a hell of a run here. I hope he gets to cheer his first time back to Minute Maid Park. Check that. Daikin Park. And I wish him the best in Boston, except for in any theoretical future playoff matchups between the Astros and Red Sox. One last question. Andrew Ramirez asks, are we better or worse? They're worse. But I think we've accepted the fact that Bregman was probably on the way out for a while, just given the way that reporting was going, bringing in Isaac Paredes, the fact that Jose Altuve was probably going to play a little bit of outfield this year. This is a lot to make up for from a leadership perspective, and I don't know if they do it. But they're going to have to figure it out, and we have seen the Astros free agent departure after free agent departure after free agent departure adapt, evolve, and survive. Radio show tomorrow from noon to 3. Fox 26 in the 7 o'clock hour. Live stream at 4. I am merely Paul Gallant. Thank you so much for stopping by. So long. Farewell. And have yourselves a wonderful rest of your Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Until tomorrow, which is a Thursday. Peace.